Crowd's going a little bit crazy now because it is a complete honour and a great privilege to have in the studios Sonic Youth on the back of their Australian tour. They're promoting their 14th album here in Australia, 1,000 Leaves, playing one of two songs right now. Please make a huge welcome for Sonic Youth! Youth live on Recovery. What a great honour from this, 1,000 Leaves, Sunday, the single. There's a few fans in the audience here. Thank you so much, Sonic Youth, for coming and coming on our show. It's a great honour. Thurston, Lee and Kim, give them another round of applause. Where to start? We've actually seen you on this show before, Thurston. We actually played some stuff from High Octane. Do you remember that show, Thurston's Alley? We loved that. Is that show still going?
That was a pretty good show. It was done by Sofia Coppola and her friend...
Francis Ford Coppola's...
Zoe Cassavetes.
Zoe Cassavetes, yeah, Francis Ford's daughter. Sophia. And she has a friend, Zoe Cassavetes, who's the daughter of John Cassavetes, the film director. And they just sort of did the show. They did, I think, 4 or 5 different shows. And it showed on this network in America called Comedy Network.
We played some of it. We loved it. Thurston's Alley.
Yeah, they asked me to do that. That alley is right next to our apartment, and it's like this really sort of fetid, kind of smelly alleyway. And so we would sit there and we would interview people.
But everybody shoots stuff there. Like every day there's a video shoot or a photo shoot or a film.
Actually, a lot of rap videos that you probably see on TV are shot in that alleyway.
God, the famous alley.
This is kind
the
of
Sonic Youth
alley,
apartment alley. That'd be very fun. I guess we should backtrack a little bit before we talk about the brand new album. You got together back in New York all the way back in '81. Can you tell us, you're part of the No Wave movement. Can you tell us a bit about what musical environment was going on around you when you got together back in '81?
Yeah, when we lived in New York, I mean, when we first started, we started around 80, 81. And we all sort of moved to New York in the late 70s. I mean, 77, 78, 79, we were all sort of living there and just sort of experiencing that whole kind of world that was going on at CBGB's, and there's this place called Max's Kansas City, and all these bands were playing, you know, like Patti Smith and Television and Talking Heads and all these bands. And by the time we moved there, a lot of those bands had sort of kind of left in a way. I mean, I know Patti sort of got married and went to Detroit, and Television sort of stopped performing after a while, and the Talking Heads became really famous, and Blondie became, and so things were changed, but there's this whole new influx of people who moved to New York that were, a lot of them were sort of coming out of art schools or visual artists, where they're just sort of people who were just kind of aliens, and they would just come into New York and they just wanted to do sort of work that was inspired by sort of the punk rock scene, and so therefore it was really sort of experimental and kind of radical. It was a really small scene at that time. It wasn't sort of the big thing that we know now, but then it was just sort of situated around CBGB and sort of the Soho section of New York where the art galleries were, and so all these sort of new ideas were coming in. The No Wave scene was a lot of young people like Lydia Lunch and James Chance, et cetera, et
You
cetera.
were part of that too, weren't you, Kim?
Well, not really. I mean, you know, I sort of moved to New York at the tail end of the No Wave thing, before the burgeoning of the big art market of the 80s. And at that time, a lot of the artists who got really big in the 80s were involved in music, and there was a lot of cross mixing, you know, art and music and stuff, and music at art spaces and stuff like that. But
Lydia Lunch, did you meet her?
Yeah.
Hang out with her? Yeah?
Yeah. We sort of came in at the tail end of that whole scene, so we were privy to watch the No Wave stuff happening and become friends with a lot of those people, but we were part of sort of like the next sort of generation of a lot of young people that were in New York trying to form bands out of that stuff. Swans, Live Skull, Rat at Rat R. That stuff.
Huge,
Stuff
huge.
that nobody knows anything about
Sonic Youth
anymore.
just sort of started at the tail end. I mean, we were living there.
Yeah.
And we sort of witnessed the whole thing. And we just sort of knew those people. I mean, at the time, like I said, it was a really sort of small deal. I mean, it wasn't like an international.
No.
I mean, most of those
There
bands
weren't
never.
even any record labels or anything, so if you
Real.
weren't there, you really didn't get a real taste of it in a way.
I mean, at that
It's pretty
time,
secret.
the whole climate was doing sort of kind of just progressive and experimental music as punk rock in a way. And that's what punk rock was when it first started. It was kind of, it sort of had artistic notions. And so in a way, things sort of got changed in the '80s a lot. I think it sort of became more sort of, it sort of went against the idea of actually doing stuff that was sort of had any relation to the art world in a way. It was kind of funny. It's just sort of now that it's coming back around again, where it's like, yeah, it's actually really cool to do experimental music in a way. So we feel really good about that.
Well, the thing about Sonic Youth is you've managed to keep progressive and remain experimental. You've been signed to a major record label for the last 8 to 10 years, but you've always managed to keep your artistic freedom and your creative control and always be leaders, and people have followed you and hailed you. I mean, how have you managed that over all those years, over, 18 years now?
We just do it. I mean, we've never really had any sort of ambitions to do anything else. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you don't let anyone tell you what to do.
We never thought about doing anything beyond a certain point, which is, just being able to do what we do as a full-time job and not have to work day jobs to support it. And so that's basically it all. Anything after that was kind of lucky,
Just try and keep focused on the music and not let the business or trends or whatever's happening sort of get in the way.
Which I imagine for a lot of bands must be very hard, who are signed to major labels. A lot of bands, they'd have to conform.
Yeah, we're in a pretty lucky situation because by the time we were signed, we already were pretty well established. So the label kind of realizes if they tried to do anything but let us be, they'd sort of screw up a good thing in a way.
But there's room for everybody.
Yes, yeah. Everyone can be everywhere. Thank you for playing Sunday, the first single from this album, your 14th, 1,000 Leaves. We will see you playing some more. Great album, very much. Sunday is probably, one of the standout tracks, but the rest is free form and long flowing. Your approach to this album, as opposed to other ones?
Oh, I don't know. That record is just sort of contemporary to where we are at. I mean, it's like any record. You just sort of make it, and it reflects where you are as people at that given time. I mean, that's, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Music Man.
We have our own studio now that we made this record in, and so we were a lot more comfortable playing. We were a lot freer to sort of stretch out and not worry about anything, just kind of play for ourselves and sort of make the music we wanted to on this record.
And I heard your daughter Coco had a very big part in this record too. She switched on light switches for you.
Yeah,
that's very important.
She was doing the light show while we played. We always need a light show when we play in a way, at this point in time.
That's nice. Great. We'll hear another track from your album very soon to close the show, but could you please thank Sonic Youth?